Polaris on Spaceflight ends with Splashdown off Florida. The mission provided the first commercial spacewalk and covered more distance than any human spaceflight since Apollo. The 5-day space voyage, known as Polaris Dawn, ended safely Sunday as 4 astronauts aboard a Spacex Dragon splashed down off the coast of Florida, wrapping up a groundbreaking commercial mission. Polaris Dawn crossed several historic landmarks for civilian spaceflight as Jared Isaacman, a billionaire entrepreneur and adventurer, performed the first spacewalk by a private citizen, followed by SpaceX engineer Sarah Gillis. Get a curated selection of 10 of our best stories in your inbox every weekend. The 5-day flight was commissioned by Isaacman, who made a fortune as the founder of Shift 4 Payments, and did not involve NASA. Isaacman has not said how much he paid SpaceX for the flight. Several rounds of applause and cheers erupted in the background of a SpaceX live stream early Sunday as the crew rapidly approached Earth. In the mission's final minutes, cameras showed crew members sitting still, their arms crossed over their chest, as the Dragon's parachutes were deployed. "Welcome back to planet Earth," one of the hosts of the live broadcast said, marking their final return off the Dry Tortugas in the Gulf of Mexico. Water scooters were quickly dispatched to approach the capsule. Along with Isaacman and Gillis, the 4-person crew included retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Scott Kidd Poteet and SpaceX mission director Anna Mellon. They lifted off in a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral, Fla. On Tuesday, following delays. They flew higher than any other crewed mission since the Apollo moon missions in 1972, as the crew reached an altitude of more than 870 miles, or more than 3 times that of the International Space Station. They orbited Earth 6 times at that height before returning to a lower altitude for the spacewalk. SpaceX said the spacewalk also represented the first time 4 astronauts were exposed to the vacuum of space at the same time. Because the spacecraft does not have an airlock, all 4 crew members donned spacesuits as the cabin was vented. The 4 crew members completed science experiments designed to prepare astronauts for longer flights in the future. The experiments included tracking changes to eyesight and ocular health, studying how microgravity affects blood flow, and monitoring the effects of medications in orbit. Gillis also brought along a violin, which SpaceX called another first in an orbiting spacecraft, and played the theme music from a Star Wars movie, a moment depicted in a video SpaceX produced. The mission's main focus was testing SpaceX's sleek new spacesuit, which is designed to protect astronauts from radiation and extreme temperatures while keeping them safe in the vacuum of space. The Splashdown caps a slew of recent wins for SpaceX, which has ferried NASA astronauts back and forth from the International Space Station since it first successfully completed a crew test flight 4 years ago. Advertisement. In a setback for Boeing, NASA has decided it will use SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft for the February return flight of astronauts Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore, who arrived at the International Space Station on Boeing's troubled Starliner spacecraft in June but were stuck there after thruster problems raised doubts about Starliner's safety. The Polaris Dawn mission was Isaacman's second flight, with SpaceX with 2 more flights planned. For the next flight, he has proposed flying to the Hubble Space Telescope and raising its orbit, which if successful could extend its life.